Hey, these are our notes for parallel lines cut by transversal. If at any point in the notes you want to try and work a problem by yourself and then see if you got it right, you can just pause the video, work the problem, and then continue playing. So our objective is to be able to use informal arguments to establish facts about the angles created when parallel lines are cut by a transversal. Parallel lines are two lines that never intersect, they never cross, they are the same distance apart forever and ever. A transversal is any line that crosses at least two other lines. And the way we know that lines are parallel are either by these additional arrows right here, or if the problem tells us the lines are parallel. So in this problem, the blue lines are the parallel lines and the green one is the transversal. When we have parallel lines, specifically parallel lines, cut by a transversal, which means just any other line, there are special angle relationships that are formed, and we can use those relationships to find any of the missing angles in the transversal. So we have 4 angle relationships that prove congruency. Those are corresponding angles, vertical angles, alternate interior angles, and alternate exterior angles. And there are 2 angle relationships that prove that the angles are supplementary, which means that the angles sum to 180 degrees. Corresponding angles are angles that are in the same position relative to the parallel lines. So think about this group of 4 angles and this group of 4 angles being 2 different groups. The corresponding angles are going to be the ones in the same position. So angle 1 is in the top left and angle 5 is in the top left. So they are corresponding. Angle 2 is in the top right and angle 6 is in the top right. Those are corresponding. Angle 3 is in the bottom left. Angle 7 is in the bottom left. So those are corresponding. Angle 4 is in the bottom right, and angle 8 is in the bottom right. So those are corresponding, and because those angles are corresponding, it proves that they are congruent angles. Our next angle relationship is vertical angles, and those are angles that are directly across from each other diagonally. So 2 and 3, 7 and 6, 1 and 4, and 5 and 8. Those are our vertical angle relationships. Alternate interior angles also prove congruency. So interior angles are located inside the parallel lines. So there are 4 angles inside the parallel lines. That's our interior. And when it says alternate, that means that they're going to be on opposite sides of our transversal. So 3 and 6 and 4 and 5. Those are our 2 alternate interior angle pairs. And our last relationship that proves congruency is alternate exterior angles. So our exterior angles are these 2 up here and these 2 down here. So those are our 4 exterior angles. And alternate means that they're on opposite sides of the transversal. So 2 and 7 and 1 and 8 are alternate exterior angles, which proves that those angles are congruent. Our last 2 angle relationships show that the angle measures are supplementary, which means they add to 180. The first one is same side interior, also called consecutive interior angles. So these are interior, so they're in the interior of our transversal, but they're on the same side of the transversal. So 3 and 5 and 4 and 6. So because those angles are same side interior angles, they are supplementary, which means they add to 180 degrees. Linear pairs are any 2 angles that sum to 180 degrees. So 1 and 2 are a linear pair. 6 and 8 are a linear pair. 5 and 6 are a linear pair. So any two pairs of angles that sum to 180 degrees are called a linear pair, and they are supplementary. So we're going to practice classifying our angle relationships. Angle 1 and angle 5 are corresponding. Angle 3 and angle 6, those are interior, and they are opposite sides, so they are alternate interior. Five and 3, they are interior, and they are on the same side of the transversal, so they are same side interior. Two and 7 are exterior, they're outside the parallel lines, and they are on opposite sides of the transversal, so they are alternate exterior. And lastly, we have 5 and 6, and those two angles, when you add them together, they form a straight line. They add to 180. Those are a linear pair. So now we're going to do some practice. Like I said, you can pause now and try some of these and then check your work, but I'm going to go ahead and go straight through and work all of these. So it says, using the diagrams below, find the measure of the missing angle and name the angle relationship. So we have angle here and angle here, and I'm going to highlight the parallel lines green, and the transversal a different color. So these two angles are inside the parallel lines, so that means that they are interior. And they are on opposite sides of the transversal, so they are alternate. So the angle relationship is alternate interior. And we know that alternate interior angles are congruent. So if this angle is 59, then this angle is also 59. Our next one, we have these two angles here. These sum to 180 degrees. They make up a straight line when you add them together. So you can kind of see that this is the line that they are on, and this angle separates them. So if you add them together, they're going to give you 180. So to find x, we're going to subtract 57 from 180. So we're going to say 180 minus 57, and we get 123. So our angle relationship is linear pair, and our angle measure is 123. Our next one, we have alternate exterior angles. So they're outside the parallel lines, they're on opposite sides of the transversal. So those are alternate exterior. And we know that those are congruent. So if this angle is 123, then this one is 123. Our next relationship, these are, if you think about these four angles as being kind of in a group, and these four angles as being in a group, then these are both in the bottom left of their group. So if this angle is 141, this angle is also 141, and these are corresponding. This next one, here are our parallel lines. So our two angles are inside the parallel line, so they are interior. But they are on the same side of the transversal, which means that they are supplementary. So these are same side interior. And we're going to do 180 minus 34. And we get 146. And our last one, if we look at these groups of angles, these are both in the bottom right, so they are corresponding. Which means they're congruent, so X has to be 79.